Every single day, you are destroying your brain. And the worst part is that you don't even realize it's happening right now as you're watching this video. Your mind is under constant attack from an invisible enemy that's been engineered by billion-dollar companies to keep you trapped in an endless cycle of scrolling, notifications, and dopamine hits that are literally rewiring your neural pathways. Think about the last time you opened TikTok or Instagram just to check something quickly for 5 minutes. And 2 hours later, you found yourself wondering where your entire day disappeared to, feeling guilty, unproductive, and completely drained of mental energy. This isn't a coincidence. This isn't a lack of willpower on your part. And this definitely isn't something you should ignore anymore, because the consequences of what's happening to your brain right now will determine whether you succeed or fail in every single area of your life. The ancient Stoics understood something that we've completely forgotten in our modern world, which is that true freedom comes from mastering your mind rather than being controlled by external stimuli and instant gratification. Seneca once said that we suffer more in imagination than in reality, and Marcus Aurelius taught that you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. These philosophers trained themselves to resist the constant pull of pleasure and distraction because they knew that mental discipline was the foundation of everything worth achieving in life. The difference between them and us is that they controlled their attention completely, while we become slaves to our notifications, our feeds, and our screens, constantly reacting to whatever stimulus comes our way, instead of consciously directing our focus toward what actually matters. If you want a complete system to rewire your mind and regain total control over your attention, focus, and mental energy, make sure you check the link in the description for the Subconscious Millionaire System, because it's exactly what I use personally to stop distractions, eliminate procrastination, and maximize my productivity to levels I never thought were possible before. Let me explain exactly what's happening inside your brain right now, and why it's so difficult to break free from these patterns that are keeping you stuck. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that your brain releases whenever you experience something pleasurable or rewarding, and it's supposed to motivate you to pursue things that help you survive and thrive, like food, social connection, and accomplishment. The problem is that modern technology has hijacked this ancient reward system and turned it into a weapon against you, because every like on your post, every notification on your phone, every new message, and every short video triggers a small dopamine spike that makes your brain think it's achieving something meaningful, when in reality, you're just feeding an addiction that's growing stronger every single day. Your brain literally cannot tell the difference between a real accomplishment that required effort, discipline, and sacrifice, and a fake reward that you got from scrolling through content for 30 seconds. This means that every time you check your phone for instant gratification, you're training your brain to seek the easiest possible source of dopamine instead of the difficult, meaningful work that would actually change your life. The modern lifestyle has created a situation where we're constantly multitasking, constantly distracted, and constantly fragmenting our attention across dozens of different stimuli, which is destroying our ability to enter deep focus states where real creativity, learning, and productivity actually happen. The scientific research is clear about what's happening to people who live in this state of constant distraction, and the results are genuinely terrifying when you understand the full implications. Studies show that people who frequently multitask and switch between different apps and activities have significantly worse memory retention, lower creativity scores, decreased ability to solve complex problems, and a complete inability to sustain attention on difficult tasks for more than a few minutes at a time. Your brain is literally being rewired to crave constant stimulation and instant rewards, which means that anything requiring sustained effort, delayed gratification, or long-term thinking becomes almost impossible, because your neural pathways have been optimized for quick hits of pleasure rather than deep, meaningful work. This is why so many people start projects with incredible enthusiasm and motivation, but can never seem to finish anything, because their brains have been trained to seek the next dopamine hit rather than push through the difficult middle section where real progress happens, but the rewards aren't immediately visible. The Stoics would look at our modern society and see exactly what's wrong. because they built their entire philosophy around the idea that mastering yourself and controlling your impulses is the only path to genuine freedom and fulfillment. They practiced voluntary discomfort, they limited their pleasures intentionally, and they trained their minds to find satisfaction in effort and virtue rather than in external rewards and validation, which is the exact opposite of how we're being conditioned to live today. Social media platforms are designed by teams of engineers and psychologists whose entire job is to keep you scrolling for as long as possible because their business model depends on capturing and monetizing your attention. The average person in developed countries now spends more than 3 hours per day staring at their phone. And for younger generations, that number is often closer to 5 or 6 hours, which means that roughly 1/4 to 1/3 of your entire waking life is being consumed by these devices that are actively making you less focused, less creative, and less capable of achieving your goals. Every time you open one of these apps, you're entering an environment that's been optimized through billions of dollars of research and A/B testing to trigger your reward system as efficiently as possible, keeping you in a trance-like state where time disappears and your intentions get completely overridden by the algorithm's goals. The really insidious part about modern dopamine traps is that they're not just wasting your time. They're actually changing the structure of your brain in ways that make it harder and harder to do anything meaningful with your life. Netflix, TikTok, video games, processed foods, pornography, and social media are all engineered to provide instant gratification with zero effort required, which trains your brain to expect pleasure without work and creates a cycle where anything that requires sustained attention, delayed rewards, or genuine effort feels impossibly difficult and unrewarding. This is why so many people feel completely unable to sit down and work on a business idea, study for their exams, go to the gym consistently, or do any of the things they know would improve their lives, because their brains have been conditioned to seek the path of least resistance and maximum immediate pleasure. When your brain is constantly bathed in easy dopamine from scrolling and watching short-form content, it loses its ability to find satisfaction in the subtle, gradual rewards that come from real accomplishment and genuine productivity. Deep work, creative projects, building a business, learning difficult skills, and developing meaningful relationships all require you to delay gratification and push through periods where the work is hard and the rewards aren't immediately visible. But if your brain has been trained to expect instant pleasure every few seconds, you simply won't have the neurological capacity to sustain effort on these higher-level pursuits. The research shows that people who spend more time on social media and consuming digital content have measurably lower levels of life satisfaction, higher rates of anxiety and depression, worse sleep quality, and significantly decreased ability to focus on demanding cognitive tasks, which creates a downward spiral where the more you engage with these platforms, the worse you feel, and the worse you feel, the more you seek comfort in the very platforms that are causing the problem. Let me give you a concrete example that you've probably experienced yourself, because this pattern is almost universal among people trying to build something meaningful in the modern world. Imagine someone named John who wants to start his own online business because he's tired of working for someone else, and he knows he has valuable skills and ideas that could generate real income and freedom. John wakes up with good intentions every morning, telling himself that today is the day he's finally going to make real progress on his business plan, his website, his content strategy, or whatever he needs to do to move forward. But within minutes of waking up, John checks his phone just to see if anything important happened overnight, and suddenly he's scrolling through Instagram, watching YouTube shorts, checking his email, responding to messages, and consuming content that other people created instead of creating anything himself. 2 hours disappear without him even noticing, and by the time he finally sits down to work on his business, his brain is already exhausted from processing hundreds of different stimuli. His dopamine system is depleted from all the easy hits he got from scrolling, and his willpower is completely drained before he's even attempted to do anything difficult or meaningful. This is the reality for millions of people who have genuine potential and real ambitions, but whose brains have been hijacked by systems designed to keep them distracted, passive, and consuming rather than creating, building, and achieving. The good news is that your brain is not permanently damaged, and you can absolutely reverse these patterns if you're willing to implement the right strategies with genuine commitment and consistency. A dopamine detox isn't about eliminating all pleasure from your life or living like a monk in a cave. It's about training your brain to derive satisfaction from meaningful achievement and genuine accomplishment rather than from mindless scrolling and instant gratification. The fundamental principle is that you need to temporarily remove or severely limit the easy sources of dopamine in your life so that your brain's reward system can reset and recalibrate to find pleasure in activities that actually move you toward your goals rather than away from them. The first rule of an effective dopamine detox is to eliminate or drastically limit notifications on all your devices, because every notification is literally designed to interrupt whatever you're doing and pull your attention back to the app that sent it. Turn off notifications for social media, email, news apps, and anything else that isn't genuinely urgent or time-sensitive, because the reality is that almost nothing is truly urgent, and you can check these things on your own schedule rather than letting them control your attention throughout the day. The second rule is to set strict time boundaries for activities that trigger your dopamine system, which means deciding in advance that you'll only use social media between specific times like 7 to 7:30 in the evening, or that you'll only watch entertainment content after you've completed your most important work for the day. The third rule is to deliberately practice activities that require sustained attention and delayed gratification, like reading physical books for at least 30 minutes without any distractions, working on a challenging project for focused 90-minute blocks, or engaging in hobbies that require skill development and patience rather than immediate results. The Stoics had specific practices that we can adapt directly to our modern context. And these techniques are incredibly powerful for rebuilding your mental discipline and reclaiming control over your attention. Daily journaling is one of the most effective tools for developing self-awareness and intentionality, because when you write down your thoughts, goals, and reflections every morning or evening, you're forcing your mind to slow down and process your experiences deliberately rather than just reacting to whatever stimulus comes your way. Marcus Aurelius kept a journal that became his famous work, Meditations, and in it he constantly reminded himself about what truly mattered, what was within his control, and how he wanted to show up in the world regardless of external circumstances. You can create a simple morning routine that includes 10 minutes of journaling where you write down your top 3 priorities for the day, reflect on any challenges you're facing, and remind yourself of your long-term vision and values, which creates a mental anchor that keeps you focused and intentional throughout the day instead of drifting from distraction to distraction. Visualization is another Stoic technique that modern neuroscience has confirmed as incredibly effective for behavior change and goal achievement. Because when you vividly imagine yourself as the person you want to become, your brain starts creating the neural pathways necessary to make that vision a reality. The Stoics called this practice premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils, where they would imagine potential challenges and obstacles in advance so they could prepare mentally and emotionally rather than being caught off guard when difficulties arose. You can adapt this by spending 5 minutes every morning visualizing yourself as someone who has complete control over their attention, who works with deep focus on meaningful projects, who doesn't get distracted by notifications and social media, and who makes consistent progress toward their goals every single day. This mental rehearsal literally rewires your brain to recognize opportunities for focused work and to resist temptations for distraction, because you've already practiced the desired behavior in your mind before the situation even occurs. Let me share a transformation story that illustrates exactly what becomes possible when you implement these principles consistently over time, because seeing the concrete results helps you understand why this work is so valuable and necessary. Imagine someone who was stuck in the exact situation I described earlier, constantly distracted, unable to finish projects, starting and stopping dozens of different business ideas without ever building any real momentum or achieving any significant results. After learning about dopamine detox and Stoic principles, this person decided to commit to a strict 30-day protocol where they eliminated social media completely except for 15 minutes in the evening, removed all notifications from their phone, established a morning routine of journaling and visualization, and dedicated the first 3 hours of every day to focused work on their most important project without any digital distractions whatsoever. The first week was genuinely difficult because their brain was craving the easy dopamine hits it had become accustomed to. But by the second week, something remarkable started happening where they noticed they could actually sustain focus for longer periods. Their creative ideas were flowing more naturally, and they were making more progress in a single focused work session than they used to make in an entire week of distracted effort. If you want a structured, step-by-step method to rewire your subconscious mind and maximize your focus, productivity, and mental clarity, you need to check out the Subconscious Millionaire System right now, because it's the exact framework I use personally to eliminate distractions, build unstoppable habits, and achieve results that seemed impossible before I discovered these principles. The link is in the description, and this system will give you everything you need to transform your relationship with your attention and your goals starting today. Building a distraction-free environment is absolutely critical for long-term success because willpower is a limited resource, and if you're constantly relying on self-control to resist temptations, you'll eventually fail when your willpower is depleted from other decisions and stresses throughout the day. The solution is to structure your physical and digital environment so that the path of least resistance leads toward focused work rather than toward distraction, which means removing or limiting access to the triggers that normally pull you into unproductive behaviors. If you work from home, create a dedicated workspace that's completely separate from where you relax and consume entertainment, because your brain needs clear environmental cues to know when it's time to focus versus when it's time to rest. Remove your phone from your workspace entirely during focus work sessions, or at minimum, put it in another room where you can't see it or hear it, because research shows that just having your phone visible on your desk significantly reduces your cognitive capacity, even if you're not actively using it. Install website blockers and app limiters on all your devices so that you literally cannot access social media, news sites, or other distracting platforms during your designated work hours. Because in moments of weakness or boredom, your brain will automatically try to seek easy dopamine, and having technical barriers in place prevents you from sabotaging yourself. Tools like Freedom, Cold Turkey, or even the built-in screen time features on your phone can be configured to block specific apps and websites during specific times, which creates friction between your impulse to check something and your ability to actually access it. Most people drastically underestimate how much their environment influences their behavior, and they try to rely purely on willpower and motivation, which is why they fail repeatedly despite having genuine desire to change, because they haven't engineered their surroundings to support their goals. Your morning and evening routines are the foundation of everything else in your life, because how you start and end your day determines your energy, focus, and decision-making capacity for all the hours in between. The most important principle for morning routines is to win the first hour of your day before checking any digital content, messages, or news. Because if you immediately start consuming what other people have created or responding to other people's priorities, you've already lost control of your attention and your day before it even really began. Instead, create a sacred morning routine that includes physical movement like exercise or stretching, mental training like meditation or journaling, and deliberate focus on your top priorities before you open your phone or computer to the outside world. This doesn't have to be complicated or time-consuming. Even 20 or 30 minutes of intentional morning practice will completely change your mental state and set you up for a productive, focused day instead of a reactive, distracted one. Evening routines are equally important because the quality of your sleep directly impacts your cognitive function, willpower, and ability to resist temptations the next day. And most people are unknowingly destroying their sleep quality by consuming digital content right up until the moment they try to fall asleep. The blue light from screens suppresses melatonin production and keeps your brain in an alert, stimulated state when it should be winding down for rest. And the content you consume before bed often triggers emotional responses, stress reactions, or mental stimulation that prevents your mind from achieving the deep, restorative sleep stages that are necessary for memory consolidation, learning, and mental recovery. Implement a strict rule of no screens for at least 1 hour before your target bedtime, and fill that time instead with activities like reading physical books, having conversations, preparing for the next day, or engaging in relaxing practices that allow your nervous system to downregulate naturally. The concept of micro-challenges is incredibly powerful for rebuilding your dopamine system to find pleasure in genuine achievement rather than cheap, easy rewards, because these small wins create positive momentum and prove to your brain that focused effort actually feels good and produces real results. Start with something manageable, like committing to 1 hour of completely uninterrupted deep work every single day, where you work on your most important project without checking your phone, without switching tasks, and without consuming any content, and track your completion of this challenge every day to see your streak building over time. The dopamine you get from seeing yourself succeed at this commitment and watching your streak grow is actually healthy, productive dopamine that reinforces the behavior you want to cultivate rather than undermining it. After you've successfully maintained your 1 hour deep work challenge for 2 or 3 weeks, you can add another micro challenge like taking 1 full day every weekend completely off from social media, or completing 30 minutes of reading every evening before bed, gradually building a system of habits that support your goals rather than sabotage them. Seneca wrote that we are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality, which is profoundly relevant to the challenge of changing your relationship with distraction and dopamine. Your mind will tell you that you need to check your phone, that you're missing out on something important, that you can't possibly focus for a full hour without a break. But these are just thoughts and fears rather than actual reality, and the Stoics taught that you have complete power over your mind if you choose to exercise that power. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself that you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. And this principle is the key to everything we've discussed, because you genuinely do control your attention, your choices, and your responses regardless of what's happening around you. Your phone does not control you. Social media does not control you. Notifications do not control you, unless you give them permission to control you by failing to establish boundaries and failing to exercise your mental discipline. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine your life 1 year from now if you actually implement these principles consistently starting today. Because visualization is not just a motivational trick, it's a powerful tool for programming your subconscious mind to recognize opportunities and make decisions aligned with your goals. Picture yourself as someone who has complete mastery over their attention, who works in deep focus states whenever they choose, who creates far more than they consume, who makes consistent progress on meaningful projects instead of scrolling away hours every day with nothing to show for it. Imagine how it feels to finish a challenging project that you're genuinely proud of, to see real results from your focused effort, to have clarity and mental energy instead of brain fog and exhaustion, to be building the life you actually want instead of passively consuming the lives that other people are creating. This future is completely available to you if you're willing to do the work, make the changes, and commit to the process regardless of how difficult it feels in the beginning. Everything we've covered in this video comes down to a simple but profound choice that you need to make right now, which is whether you're going to continue allowing modern technology and design distractions to steal your attention, your potential, and your life, or whether you're going to reclaim control over your mind and start living with intention, discipline, and purpose. Stop scrolling mindlessly through content that other people created and start creating something meaningful yourself. Stop procrastinating on the projects and goals that actually matter to you. Stop letting notifications and apps control when and where you direct your attention, and start training your brain to find satisfaction in real achievement rather than fake, empty dopamine hits that leave you feeling worse than before. If you're genuinely serious about taking back control over your mind, eliminating distractions permanently, and building the focus and discipline necessary to achieve extraordinary results in your life, you need to check out the Subconscious Millionaire System right now, because waiting and hoping for things to get better on their own is not a strategy that works. Click the link in the description and get started today, because every day you delay is another day where your brain is being rewired for distraction instead of achievement. And you cannot afford to waste any more time when your entire future depends on the choices you make starting right now. Remember this fundamental truth that will determine everything about your life going forward. The modern world wants to distract you, entertain you, and keep you passive and consuming because that's how the system profits from your attention. But the Stoics and every wisdom tradition throughout history teaches you to master yourself, control your impulses, and direct your focus toward what actually matters regardless of external temptations and easy pleasures. Which side will you choose? And more importantly, what action are you going to take today to prove that choice to yourself?